Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Respawn Station podcast. I'm your host, Nick Sivak, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sri Kandula.
Wow, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, please, everyone. Thank you. Sit down.
I
Sit
know
down.
you all think that that's a script. It's actually just some gibberish that I used while editing a video, so...
You don't think I know that's where the video has to go in order for the cropping to be right? You don't think I know that? You don't think I can discern that?
You've ruined it. You've ruined my guys. Anyway.
All right. Well, yeah. Here we are. Another week, another episode of everyone's favorite show.
And this is kind of funny because we find this to be the case occasionally, Sri, where we don't have much to go on beforehand, and then the universe just delivers us all the topics we need for an episode pretty much in one day. So
yeah, like usually every morning before we record, it's like, oh, what do we want to talk about? And since then, like since the thought has come to my mind, it's been like, oh, Steam's got a new machine, and also there's a new Horizon game that they got to look at. Like, it's just there's a lot to get into here.
Yes, for sure. That and more. But as always, we do like to start this off with a little bit of fun, talking about what we've been playing recently. Sri, looks like, based on what I can see here, you've been busy. So what are you playing?
Oh, man. You know what? In all regards, it's been an incredible week for me because, well, I'll briefly run you through some of it because, first of all, I'm a cultured man, Nick. Yes, I play video games. Sure, I watch movies, but I also read literature. And so, anyway, I finished Absolute Batman this week. Just the literature. If you don't know about Absolute Batman, I didn't either until like 2 weeks ago, and then I found out it existed. Bought the volume 1. Volume 2 comes out in February. But anyway. It took me like 2 days, and holy shit, Nick, this thing rips. It's so sick. I usually read the comics. I think the last comic I kind of went into was Doomsday Clock, and that one's a long investment. It's like 12 issues or whatever. This is like 6 issues, so it was pretty easy to get through, and again, it's all one collection. But man, if you have even like any interest in Batman, 100% recommend checking it out. It is just like... It's totally different. Like, it's not the same lore as Batman, like his parents don't die at the theater. Like it's very different, but there are some scenes that are just like, oh, that's badass. Every issue, like there's like one thing. It's like, fuck, that's badass. Anyway, that's not actually the thing I want to talk about to start off. I'm going to start off by doing a like this, try that. If you don't know what that is, it's not a surprise. We haven't done that in a little bit. Nick will have until the end of the episode to think of one for himself. But this is going to sound like a vague one. But if you like video games, sci-fi adventure video games, I should say. If you like sci-fi adventure video games, then I'd recommend trying to watch Predator Badlands. I know it's not a video game movie, but it is a video game movie-ass video game movie. To the point where like the movie almost begins and it's like a tutorial of like, these are all the things that he can do. And then they like strip him away and then they give you they give you the, like he's tossed into like, level 1 and then has to like level up or whatever. It's very simple, but man, it builds so nicely. And the last the entire last act of this movie is just satisfying conclusion after satisfying conclusion. So yeah, Predator Badlands, highly recommend checking it out. And also from it's made by a video game nerd. Dan Trachtenberg started with the Portal No Escape short film.
Okay, that's what I saw something related to Portal on Twitter, I think, and I was curious what that was. It's funny that you bring that up. I'm very intrigued with that sort of structure in films and TV going forward, because I felt very similarly about season 1 of The Mandalorian, where it felt very video gamey.
Oh yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like he goes on like quests, like he goes and like levels up his gear at one point. Like it's very interesting to see game design kind of infiltrate these types of linear media.
I do think that Mandalorian it's interesting because I can definitely see it once you say it. For me, when I was watching the Mandalorian, it kind of reminded me of, and I think it's kind of maybe what they were trying to go for, but it's those like magazine books that they used to put out where it's like like those pulp novels where it's just like every one is just a disposable kind of like, oh, you can just start reading and like linear chronology is not really required or whatever. And speaking of, it's kind of like that for Predator. Like you don't need to watch any of the 3 franchises that this movie ties together. You don't need to watch any of the 3 franchises. You can just go into it just fresh and you'll still enjoy it. Obviously, if you watch Predator or Alien or Blade Runner, you'll get more out of it, a little bit more out of it. But you know, anyway, yeah. So check out Predator. Now, let's talk about video games. That's what this show is about. All right, let's get to the good stuff. I have still regarding just that, even if we're taking the movies and books out of it, have been very busy. So since last time, I've finished Crisis Remastered, and I don't think I have enough thoughts on it to write a review. I'm still kind of thinking about it, but let me just say this. If you've watched me play it, then it'll sound similar to what I'm about to say, or it'll sound familiar because I'm repeating what I said. But essentially, the game follows sort of a reverse pattern of okay, how do I say this? Traditionally, in a video game, the idea is you start off again. What I was saying with Predator, right? Like you start off with level 1, and then and that's when the game is the most focused, right? You have to go through the tutorial section. You can't really go off the beaten path, and then slowly it opens up. Even a game like Breath of the Wild, where you go into the open world, and it's like, oh, here's an opening island. Like this will give you your grips, and yeah, sure, you can. That might be a bad example because in Breath of the Wild you can go fucking do whatever. You can jump off immediately. But generally, it's like, hey, here's a little guided place, and then the rest of the world is open for you. It expands. This game is like the inverse. The first half is like, the wide open island, or not wide open, but it's like pretty open island. You can go and kind of pick your targets. By halfway through the game, I popped a trophy saying that I completed all secondary objectives. And so you can imagine that the rest of the game is just linear paths, and to the point where the ending is like you're on. I don't want to ruin it, but like you're in confined spaces. So it just feels weird in its design like that. And then also, though I will say, still cool sequences. If you watched last episode, you'll know that I felt a little bit disappointed with the game. I think that initial impression stayed, but the second half of the game is definitely cooler. It has a lot more of the like crazy ideas and stuff where you're watching and you're like, oh, I kind of get though. Like, there's a sequence where you're driving into this new area and, it's kind of, you're in a forest, there's a pathway, and then the distance you see a mountain. And then as you're, entering the area, the mountain starts to fall apart. And as you do, details start coming out. Like I don't want to get. I'm trying to really not to ruin it for anyone, but it was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty sick. And then by the time you get to the end, there's a certain level of scale that I love from the 2000s games. We've talked about it before, about how like the bosses and stuff, or like just the scale of certain sequences will be like gigantic, and it'll be like really cool to experience. This game does that really well. Again, just right at the end. That being said, there's still, it's not like the ending went out on a bang. I mean, there was a chance, Nick, that I almost couldn't finish the game because it was the literal moment before the credits rolled. I mean, I beat the final boss, so the checkpoint saved, but the checkpoint saved with me fucking getting shoved into the ground. So every time I reloaded at the checkpoint, I would drop through the floor into the below the level, and I couldn't get back up. And the objective, I will spoil this. The objective after that checkpoint happens is getting to the chopper to escape. Like that. I mean, not to reference Predator again, but get to the chopper. That's what I had to do, and I couldn't because every time I fucking went back in, it dropped me through the floor.
What's with you hitting like game-breaking bugs right at the end of a game?
Yeah, see, I could be hired for QA, but like Square Enix wants fucking AI to take over. So like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Square Enix, I'm right here. I can break your games for a moderately high price, at least like $1 million probably. But anyway, so I finished Crisis Remastered. That was, I'm mixed about it. I can't give a number score. It's also another reason why I've been a little unsure about the review. Mm-hmm. Then I finally got to a game that I've had installed on my PS5 for a few weeks now, and it's a game that we got for review. So I'm currently making my way through it. I was in between Days Gone when it came in. I was like, I can't start this right now. So it is a roguelite twin stick shooter, and I haven't played either. Like I haven't played a roguelite or a twin stick shooter in a while. I think the last twin stick shooter I played was The Ascent, which was great, but it's been a while, like 2 years probably. So I don't think, some of it is very like, okay, yeah, it's as you expect when you play a roguelite. The elements that you'd expect to see in it are there. But that being said, I'm having a good time with it. I've put about 4 hours into it, and there's 4 characters, so you can keep playing, like get endings, I think, with each one. But it does the thing where I feel satisfied after each playthrough, even after I die. I mean, earlier I had an hour-long run, and I did go, I did give my chair a little punch, but it was like, I was pretty satisfied with the run, and I still unlocked a new character. So things, every time you die, it still feels like you're making progress. Also, the trophies in the first few hours that I've put in, the trophies pop pretty like regularly, where it's like, okay, yeah, the dopamine is being released at the right intervals, where I feel that the game's good. There will definitely be a full kind of article about this over on respawnstation.com. I highly recommend checking that out. If you want to see gameplay, I have my first hour with the game over on my channel, and so you can watch that as well. But again, more of that coming soon, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's great. There's definitely some hiccups here and there, but there you go. I'll try to be brief because I don't want to take too long on some of these. And then Call of Duty Black Ops, not Civil War, Cold War. Fuck. Did I just give him an idea? Oh man. It's because I wrote CW on the notes for today, and I screwed myself over. But no, yeah, I've been playing Black Ops Cold War. This was, the people on YouTube voted for it because I was between Battlefield 4 or this game, and so this one happened to win. Surprisingly, even though I feel like the tides have been turning against Call of Duty recently.
Right.
But that being said, man, I mean, Nick, you were there for my first experience with the game,
yes.
where I played through the probably 2 hours of the campaign. And then since then I've been playing. Well, Nick, what did you think my first impressions were?
I think
we haven't done that before.
I think you were surprised at certain elements of it. You were surprised at how it felt, and in a good way. And you were also taken aback by the cinematic qualities of the presentation, I think. Those were my main takeaways from your opening couple missions that you played.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. The game feels good to play, and it's something about like the gunplay feels really solid for me in that game. Though it doesn't, after playing through like Warzone or Black Ops 6 like multiplayer, it definitely is a little bit slower, which I think is good because there like I feel like I don't intend on doing it, but I've just been playing Warzone where I can like skid and then jump and then skid again. Mm-hmm. And then I try to do that. I'm like, it's not working here. It's not. That's not how you move in this game. Also, I don't. It's like it's not quite as smooth. And again, it's totally fair because they kind of iterated on it or whatever. But that was my first notice. And the second thing, dude, I think you might have picked up on it, obviously, from when I was talking about it on stream, but it's quite impressive how cinematic these games are. But I think part of it is that they really intended, like, okay, how do we evoke the feelings of this thing? So it's not necessarily, I don't know how much of it is like building out a narrative that where they're like, yeah, this will feel good to play, or like the story here is important. It almost feels like they're like, okay, we got, it's a Cold War. Let's look at the genre. Let's look at the kind of the what has been done in cinema or otherwise, and how do we do that to a level that hasn't not been seen in a video game before? Like the to a level of fidelity that you haven't seen in a video game before. But part of that, I mean, we had kind of talked about it on stream, but it's the score being so much like a movie score at different parts. There's one part where we're flying through a helicopter in Vietnam, and it's like super like war movie, kind of themes. But then you'll go like there's an espionage mission, and it totally kind of fades away, and it's a little bit more like a I don't know. I don't want to say soulful, but like it has a little bit more of that.
I was describing
ambiance
to a friend of mine, and it's not exactly 1-to-1 here, but I said it was kind of like Pink Panther-esque. It's like sneaking music.
Oh
that
yeah,
I feel like
yeah, sure.
That it definitely like leans into more than like the bombastic war stuff from the previous mission.
But again, they do separate it out well. You go one to the other.
Yeah, and removed from a year or two from when I played Cold War, I honestly can't really tell you much about the narrative. Like, I think part of it did just kind of like wash over me, but there are moments that I do appreciate and remember fondly. One of those you got to play in that espionage mission where you kind of sneak into this target's apartment and you kind of have to like dodge around people that are inside the apartment and everything. And I remember that feeling like really tense in a really fun and dynamic way. I mean, it's pretty well scripted, right? Like, one character will go over here and do this thing or whatnot. Like, they kind of have to do it that way to keep the pace going and everything. But I did appreciate several moments of the game where they do, and it's something that like a lot of these newer Call of Duties do, where it's like this mission has this one unique kind of thing that you do, and I really appreciate that in just making it a bit more interesting than just like run and laser beam all the heads in the room.
Yeah, no, and that is one thing where it almost felt there was a point where I was like, this is a Call of Duty game, so that means like the next mission I'm going to be just palping people, like like it's going to be more war torn, because there was a point where in that mission I was like, man, it's very quiet, it's not like a lot of action where you just feel like you're marching into battle constantly. Well, yeah, which is a nice pace, change of pace, and I think they know that it works, because they Call of Duty at this point has ripped off their own sequences from their own games and multiple times. But anyway, my takeaway from the campaign is that I don't know how much of it is meant to tell a good story, and I think part of and so it's kind of like, okay, let's put these sequences together and see what we can do. And part of that is that while certain sequences might stick out, and certain, like, while you're playing, you're still like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. It's not like soaking in, as much as maybe a more kind of important story beats in other games. And then I've been, man, last 2 days probably playing 3 days, I think, playing the crap out of the multiplayer. Definitely has issues in terms of. I mean, I'm also coming in from a late, like, 4 years now, 5 years. I don't know how long it's been now.
Yeah, something like that.
It's been a few years since the game's been out, so the people that are like fucking dudes are level 2000. I didn't even know that was possible in this game. And so and I've at least come across one hacker where the dude was just popping fucking score streaks like back to back to back. So I don't know what the fuck was going on there. But that being said, having a good time. It's just satisfying enough, and I think I get into enough of like I have enough good games where I'm like, okay, all right, my ego's a little bit good, and then like I'll get stomped on for like another round. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let the skill-based matchmaking adjust. But anyway, having a decent time with Cold War. We'll see how long it sticks. It is weird, Nick. I don't know how you feel about it, but Call of Duty used to be that you'd get these games and they'd last you for months, like or for a long time. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, if I play this for about 2 weeks and I feel like I've gotten my time with it or whatever, I'm like, okay, that's fine. We can move on from it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and last thing I'll say about it is I've mentioned before, I've been waiting for a Black Ops 2 remake of some kind or remaster or whatever. I did not know that the fucking maps from Black Ops 2 were in this game. So I'm playing through the multiplayer and all of a sudden Hijack comes on. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's been really, really cool to experience those old maps, kind of how like you picture them in your head with the fidelity, but knowing full well if you go back, you're like, that doesn't look as good as I thought it did.
Right.
So yeah, that's been pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think it just kind of changes with your gaming taste over time. Like back then, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, it was like, it still didn't have the income to just go and buy games. So it's like you really got your miles worth out of like a replayable multiplayer game like a Call of Duty. And also at the time, whenever I was sinking like tons and tons of time into those games, it was like my friends were also playing it. So you have that communal kind of factor to it. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way now. It's like I want to play the campaign. I'll play like a little bit of multiplayer. Like I texted you when you were starting it, and I was like, with the multiplayer, I played up to like the top rank before you prestige or whatever. I think it was 65. I don't quite remember that. But
I think it's 55, but I could be wrong.
55.
It is 55 nowadays, but yeah.
And yeah, so like I played to that point and I was like, okay, I've had my fill. I think I'm good. But
yeah. And also, yes, I agree. I think that is a very, very big factor into it. But, are people, I'm curious, like, I feel like it sounds like out of touch fucking shit, right? But like, are kids playing through Black Ops Cold War like that? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm curious what the percentage of people that are like, oh yeah, Cold War is my stuff, man. Cold War is the game it's my childhood.
The battle royales and Fortnite and stuff kind of complicate things because we didn't really have something like that when we were playing Call of Duty.
Can you imagine we had a battle royale? That would have been deadly. That would have been deadly.
Yeah. Oh my god. Not even including the toxicity of old voice chat in those games.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, just walking around and like it's not even you take a 10 person Call of Duty lobbies or 20 people Call of Duty lobbies got crazy. Can you imagine 100 people just walking around? Oh boy, that'll be a cesspool. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. Nick, I know this is a big moment for you. You've finally done it. So I'll let you stew, revel in the success that very few gamers can achieve. Yep. Moment of silence. Deep breath.
Oh. The
100
grind
hours, baby.
Is done. We got that platinum for Tony Hawk 3 and 4. PlayStation tells me it took 100 hours of playtime to get to this point, but I finally got that platinum trophy. And you know what I did right after I got it?
Uninstalled it.
I uninstalled that game immediately.
Yep.
Jokes aside, obviously, I really enjoy Tony Hawk games. I still enjoy Tony Hawk games. That felt a little bit tedious by the end of that. Just replaying the game with every single skater and like not a whole lot changes between them. So it's seriously just playing 2-hour runs of a game essentially over and over and over again just to get.
Did you pop it on your Portal or PS5?
PS5.
I was gonna say you popped your first Portal Platinum. Oh my god, say that 5 times fast.
Portal Platinum, yeah. The Portal helped. I definitely did a couple of those, probably like 5 or 6 skaters on the Portal. So it definitely helped me get to the finish line. But I knew I was going to want to take a picture of the moment when it happened. So
Sure, sure.
definitely relaxing. So yeah, overall, I guess I can finally definitively say Tony Hawk 3+4. As a hardcore Tony Hawk fan, it disappointed a lot of people. As people that liked 1+2 and just wanted more of that, I think you're fine with 3+4. But ultimately, it was a game that just kind of feels like DLC at the end of the day, and probably should have been DLC versus being re-released as a whole, new boxed product and everything. I still had a good time with it. I think that both 1+2 and 3+4 definitely would be better if the platinum trophy grind wasn't so egregious and extreme. But at the same time, I get wanting people to play the game or whatever. So, yes, don't really have much more to add beyond that, but that is finally done, and my unfinished business can kind of be set aside now. That has mainly been what I've been playing this week. I did get to hop back in with a little bit of Resident Evil 6 today with my buddy Shane. And
nice.
Played a bit more RE6, had more fun with that.
I thought you were going to say Battlefield 6.
I have also been playing a little bit of Battlefield 6 here and there as well.
Have you experienced the new update? I've heard there's some things that are fixed and then some things that are broken. There's a few things I've been hearing chatter about, but I didn't know the details.
I played a bit of multiplayer today before we started recording, but I haven't paid attention to what was fixed or broken. There's still like some just weird jank in the game. Something that I've noticed a lot is this will kind of date us also. Do you remember Call of Duty bounce spots in
Hell yeah, games? Dude. Yeah.
Battlefield 6 has like weird physics glitches that kind of initiate a bounce on like anything. So there have been many moments where like I'll just like be running up a rocky cliff and I'll hit something just the right angle where it bumps you up like 20 feet into the air, and you'll see like
do you die when you come down?
No, it's not ever been like that high, but there are moments where like people just start like skeet shooting you and stuff, or you do that to other opponents. So there's like weird stuff like that. I had a glitch earlier where I was reloading my shotgun and the animation just kept playing permanently while I was reloading. So
see, but when it comes to that could be a feature. You know how Battlefield loves their Easter egg reloads,
right? It's still fun. I did play a little bit more RedSec with a squad as well. We had some fun there. There was actually a moment where we got 2 armored vehicles at one point, and we're like, oh yeah, like,
oh damn,
here we go. Didn't end up winning, sadly, but
2 of the most overpowered thing in Battle Royale. You had them in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
They could be easily sabotaged though. Like you can just run up behind them, even if you don't have the right kit. You can just hit sabotage.
Well, the other thing that's kind of interesting about the vehicles is that they have way less ammo than the multiplayer versions.
Right, and so you got to go to the resupply stations.
There was this one moment actually where we got into a Jeep. I was on the machine gun and my buddy was driving, and he got shot out of the Jeep, but I was still alive. So the Jeep just kind of like rolled to a stop, but I was too afraid to get out. And so like I just kept like shooting like everywhere. I would do like somebody was like spectating me. He's like, behind you. I'd like twist around and start shooting over there. I got like 2 or 3 kills. So like it worked out, but it was fun.
That reminds me. So obviously we've like on stream, we play a lot of Warzone. And then I think it was on Saturday, also, man, dude, I really have been playing a lot of fucking video games. I also played Fortnite. I played the new Simpsons map.
Nice.
Absolutely crazy. They literally, I mean, as Nick had said last time, like they've taken Springfield and made it into a playable game, essentially. There's obviously, you'll recognize certain spots, and it is wild. Just kind of experiencing it and how much love and care has been put into this thing. And like they go through maps all the time, but like this feels like they really you can go up to random little nooks and crannies and find the Easter eggs. Phones will be ringing and you can pick them up, and it'll be like a prank call that Bart does to like Mo. It's just really, really good. And the game also plays super smoothly. So like, it was a fun time. I highly recommend if you like Fortnite, this is a really really good update that they've done. It's not like I can't judge the battle pass. I haven't spent money on it, but just playing it has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, on Saturday, I was we were playing Warzone, and I was like, I want to do something different. I don't want to just play Warzone for the just a win. And so we did our first challenge stream, and this was like just a random idea I pulled out of my ass. But essentially, it was like the rule for the stream was that we could not fire a single bullet until we were in the top 10. Like once top 10, we enter top 10, then we can start shooting. But the rest of the time, if you see someone, you got to run. So it was an incredibly fun, like it was so much fun to try, like, it felt like Scooby-Doo at one point. Like we'd run into one room and be like, oh shit, there's someone. We turn around, go back, and then there's another one comes up, and then so you'd get away, and then they both of them would engage. So like, yeah, it was so much fun. But the reason I thought of that is because there was one time, and look, there's plenty of moments in the stream I have to clip out, but there's one time where I get into a helicopter. And Alexa like I'm waiting for Alexa to get in. She hops in, and as I'm taking off, I see there's an enemy right in front of us, shooting at us. And I was like, Alexa, hold on. So I go forward and I jump out of the helicopter, and the helicopter crashes onto the dude. Alexa also goes down, but the dude's killed. So I'm able to pick her back up. But yeah, it was you got to get creative. You know what I mean, Nick? But man, it was so much fun. I definitely got to do that more.
I really love challenge runs. It's like a topic that we have in the back pocket to talk about on the podcast one day. And yeah, that sounds like that would be so much fun. That's the kind of stuff that I love, especially when you can come up with a good one for like a multiplayer game, is when you get like so much fun. This isn't that new, but like back in the day, you had people doing like knife only in Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Ninja diffusing.
Yeah. So even the one man army noob tube kind of combo from Modern Warfare 2, like something like that. Whenever you can find something that's fun to do in a multiplayer game, yeah, that's awesome.
And I think again, we'll definitely save this for the full conversation, but when you do challenge runs, it really changes, like, depending on what it is and what game you're doing and whatnot, it can almost change the genre that you're playing in. If I'm using the Warzone thing as an example, there's a moment where we had just dropped in, maybe like 3 teams had gone out total, and these people were chasing me. So I go into the bathroom, and I'm just sitting in the bathroom with my knife out, and I can hear them stomping around, And I was like, oh my God, it's like a horror game. Like I just have to like listen to their footsteps to see when they're far enough away where I can like book it. And yeah, it creates its own moments. Cause like, when I finally decided to leave that bathroom, I got out of the house and I started running. And as I'm running away, a train moves in behind me and cuts off the bad guys so they can't shoot me. It was beautiful. So yeah. Anyway, that's what we've been playing. Let us know what you're playing. Feel free to tweet at us, comment below. This is a two-sided conversation, but between me and Nick, you guys are just kind of listening, but you can get involved too. Now it's time for the news. There's quite a few, as Nick had said, things to talk about. Pretty much this entire episode could be viewed as oops, all news, because the main topic is also kind of like a deep dive into a specific news topic. But Nick, let's start with what you want to start with. I see it right up here at the top. Let's start. If that's what you want to go for.
So earlier today, we got the first teaser trailer, I guess first real trailer, for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And we also got confirmation.
It was part of the Super Mario Galaxy Direct. Is that what it was?
It's like Super Mario Galaxy Movie Direct, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Essentially, they also said that Brie Larson is going to be voicing Rosalina, and Benny Safdie is voicing Bowser Jr.
Crazy pull.
Yeah. The trailer, I don't know if you watched it, Sri. I thought it was a little...
I have not watched it.
It's not like an amazing trailer. I mean, it gives you what you need. Like Mario and Luigi are there, new characters are there. There's some cool looking visuals and everything. Your kind of goofy little Bowser jokes and everything. But overall, I walked out of that trailer just being like, okay, that was like a teaser trailer for a new Mario movie. So I think it's still going to one up the original movie and sell 1 billion tickets and everything like that. Still looks like it's a pretty high quality bar. I think maybe it looks like a little bit better than the original movie. So I don't know if there's like improvements on the animation end or if it's just like a little bit better art direction or something. But I do think it looks
got more
really
budget.
nice. Yeah. And so yeah, that was the main thing. But the side thing that's a little bit more for me specifically that I threw in here, Nintendo also announced, or teased rather, a new Legend of Zelda themed Lego set that they're going to be having out next year. I got the Ocarina of Time Deku tree that they put out. Kind of pricey.
Like $100?
It's more than that. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but they definitely put the premium tag on Zelda. So
the Nintendo Premium.
Yeah. This looks like it's also continuing in the Ocarina of Time space, so they pretty much are suckering me out of even more money, whatever this ends up being.
Dang.
But it seems like, based on the teaser video, that it might be either a recreation of the ending boss battle from the game or something related to Hyrule Castle, because that's kind of where that final boss fight with Ganondorf happens. So,
right.
Cool. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the wallet too much, but as a lifelong Zelda fan, if they want to keep making these Ocarina of Time Lego sets, I'll keep buying them. So
you just got to build the whole game out in Lego. That'd be
might get there at some point, honestly.
yeah.
It's an N64 game. It's not that big.
That's true. But yeah, no, I missed out on this whole thing. But I knew of all that. There's a lot of things to catch up on. And I knew this was not going to be one of the ones I got to, but I'm glad the Lego set it pleases you, Nick.
Yes, both of those are coming out next year. Mario Galaxy movie is in April. The Lego set just said 2026, so at some point in the future, we can all look forward to that. Let's do Fallout next. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition.
Oh man.
I forget.
Oh man, let's turn. Hold on, Nick. Let's just turn the clock back to like 2 episodes ago, and Nick was like, "And then they can finally fix Fallout 4, just like which was broken from that goddamn update or whatever." And here we are.
Yup. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Tons of stuff broken, pretty much.
I've seen the footage. Yeah.
The creations menu that they added, that wasn't working right. Apparently now that's like kind of fixed. Mods obviously were breaking, which they were going to anyway, but even broken to the extent that people weren't expecting. There's weird bugs where it's like the mods that rely on DLC trick the game into thinking that you don't have DLC installed and everything. There's a whole menagerie of just, issues and mess. And all of this has kind of resulted in a rather large amount of fan backlash to Bethesda, to this whole release, because essentially what it boils down to is they were supposed to fix the next gen version that released last year. This ended up breaking the game in a lot of other ways, while just trying to introduce new ways for people to, pay for like either creations or for this new anniversary re-release. On top of Xbox, putting out their marketing picture and being like, everyone liked that, when clearly everyone was not liking it or enjoying it at the moment. So that kind of stoked a bunch of fire and stuff. And really, there's just been from my perspective in the community and following other, content creators in the community, there's just been a lot of like people feeling insulted by the whole situation. That's the prevailing term I keep seeing, is that it's just insulting. And yeah, to be fair, like it's pretty hard to defend. Like this really should have been the moment that it's like, hey, we're sorry we broke it last year. It's fixed now. Enjoy this stuff. But it's just like, yeah, it's just a big mess all around. So it seems like with this company specifically, as much as I am a fan of their games, and I'm a Starfield fan, right? Like it just seems like it's fumble after fumble after fumble with a lot of this stuff. And it also hurts because
it stings a lot because it's almost always with Fallout, and maybe it's because in the last few years Fallout's been the thing that they're able to put out, but like Elder Scrolls Oblivion comes out and everyone's like, fuck yeah. I mean, there's definitely problems with that game too, but like everyone's like, this is it. It's hitting home, baby. It's hitting home. And then like, Fallout 4, it's like 10 years, right? 10 years. Fuck, 10 years, after it first came out, and it's somehow just worse than it was before. There are ways for anyone that's wondering, if for some reason you're like, I have to play through Fallout 4 now. There are ways to uninstall the Anniversary Edition or like get around that stuff so that you can kind of not have your game update. But the consensus that I'm looking at Steam, obviously it's very mixed reviews, but one of the comments that I see, one of the reviews is because in Fallout 4's world, just like ours, greed never changes. Oof.
Yeah. The other thing that's just kind of like what makes it sting a bit too is that Bethesda, compared to other companies, also like they are one of the companies that they take a long time to do like anything really. And so realistically, when they broke it with the next gen version, they should have patched that and fixed that, but it was left broken for tons of people for an entire year. And then to be at this point now where it's like it's like the GTA delay that I was talking. I don't know if I was talking with you specifically about it or somebody else, but I was like, 6 months ago we were a year out from GTA, and we're still a year out. 6 months later, and it's the same thing. It's like we should have had something fixed by this point, and now we're still at like the same spot we were last year with just a bunch of angry people and a broken game. So, yeah, sad.
Sucks,
but
now we got to keep waiting.
Yeah, hopefully things are quick to be fixed. I should add, before we started recording, they did put out a little post saying that they have some hot fixes that they're going to be addressing some of the like biggest concerns going out over the next day, the stuff that like is stopping the game from running pretty much. And then they also have a couple of patches lined up in the coming weeks into December. One of those on Xbox consoles, they are dramatically increasing the console mod storage limit, which has been something that people have been wanting for years, literally, because if you don't know, they have an allotted amount of storage for mods on console, and it's been like 2 gigabytes, which is like small, right? Apparently on Xbox consoles, they're increasing that to 100, which is, I think, where the Starfield creations are currently. Maybe the Skyrim ones too. I'm not 100% on that. But that's definitely coming to Xbox first. They said they're looking into increasing it on PlayStation. So I guess that's just like they probably have to talk with Sony to see what's feasible on that front. But at least there's a tiny little silver lining that people that enjoy console mods, you're about to get a lot more wiggle room with adding content to the game that way. So, but I think that's enough grumbling about Fallout and hoping for a better future in that way.
I mean, you kind of announced you went to another news topic while we're in the middle of that one, so we could hit that next. We are, as of probably when you're watching this, we will be exactly a year from GTA 6. Because yes, GTA 6 has been delayed once again. And there's a few things around this to talk about. So there's one is the actual delay itself. And I mean, Nick, are you surprised? I guess, I feel like I could hear the gaming community let out a sigh of relief because they're like, "Fine, we can announce our dates." So I feel
Right.
like in the Game Awards next month we'll see a lot more dates, kind of at the end of trailers. It's my belief.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me because they are still operating within historical norms, right? Red Dead Redemption 2, I always base what a game is doing as far as like release or like delays. I always base it on what the previous game did, right? I don't know if that is just like me being going through weird mental hoops with certain games and trying to make like justifications for different things, but I think just looking at the last game to inform the current game is extremely helpful. And so Red Dead Redemption 2, it gets announced originally with a 2017 release date, or release year, no date. Eventually it gets delayed to spring of 2018, and then that got delayed to October with a date for 2018, and that was originally when the game came out. So it had like two major delays and eventually came out at the end of the year. We originally got a 2025 year for GTA 5. That got delayed to May of 2026, and now we're delayed to November of 2026. So I think personally, I do think November 19th, 2026, I think that is when GTA 6 is coming out.
Right.
If they do announce another delay, that's when I'm going to start getting a little bit worried. Even though I know that the pedigree is there, it's Rockstar, we have a good amount of trust that we can put into this. If they do announce a further delay, I'm going to start being like, what's going on? Like there's something else to this other than just an obsession with polish that is characteristic of the team.
Now, one of the other things to talk about this is that obviously the Take-Two stock price immediately fell following the announcement. I think it's probably bounced back by now, or at least kind of on its way. But yeah, it was an immediate effect. Internet sleuths have also found that they've added a few shots to the trailer on the website. So I actually think the final shot that goes into the title card in the last trailer is different now. So it's like it's a really cool like sunset shot that goes into the GTA 6 name drop. So yeah, check it out on it's only on the GTA website, not the YouTube or whatever. So check that out. And then this delay also happened amid claims that Rockstar is union busting. And the rough story around this is essentially a bunch of people were fired from Rockstar, and because of things that were being said in a private Discord between, I was like, was it 40 people or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And so originally there's a back and forth, and at this current moment we can say what we know, but there's no real solid claim, I think, that you can or a solid outcome that you can make, like, oh, this is what they were doing, or this is why they did it, or whatever.
Yeah,
but what was said,
it's one group's words versus the company's words,
yep.
Right? And so yeah, that's the main thing. The Discord was a union like Discord where they were talking with people outside of, I guess, the Rockstar bubble, and Rockstar's claiming that these people were terminated for gross misconduct and for leaking secrets or something about the game.
Right.
Which can be like gameplay details, or it could be talking about, hey, the working conditions here are, not ideal. So that's pretty much where we're at.
I mean, it could really, it could go either way. Obviously, you want to think, you want to be on the side of the people and not the giant conglomeration. But yeah, it could be that they, and a part of, their union talk was also some assets were shared or some screenshots or whatever. Any game details that would kind of technically be a breach of contract. Or it could just be Rockstar saying, yeah, that's, I don't like what you're doing. And now I have an excuse to
Hmm.
to get rid of, in one fell swoop. So, yeah, I think that's a bit developing story maybe. So we'll follow up on that if there's any kind of update on it. But there you go. That's the dump of GTA 5. Oh, sorry, GTA 6 and Rockstar updates for you guys.
Yeah,
Nick,
and
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go next?
well, it's all Sony stuff, surprisingly, on here. So,
Oh shit, yeah, you are right. Yeah.
uh, let's do this one next. I think because I don't know how much we'll have to say specifically on this, but
Yes,
earlier
yes.
today, Sony,
Rejoice.
yeah, so Sony announced a Ratchet and Clank mobile game called Ranger Rumble, and it's like a collaboration with Insomniac and this company called Obibi. I'm not 100 Obibi. Uh, I'm not familiar with their work. I would assume it's some sort of mobile developer, though, just because I don't know how much mobile developing Insomniac has done in house. And this is a multiplayer Ratchet and Clank game, so it seemed kind of like a almost arena based third
Oh,
person shooter, I guess I'd say. And
yeah.
there's like different game modes, like sort of like your own capture the flag, or your typical kind of multiplayer suite of modes, it looks like. But you have that Ratchet and Clank art style. It looks like you have custom characters, which screams to me microtransaction store. I'm not sure how confirmed that is currently, but usually if you see mobile and you see custom characters, that's immediately where my mind goes.
And it's free to play, so it's
Free to play. I
you
think
know.
you can pre-register now. Something in the trailer. Eh, like I've been wanting to get into the Ratchet and Clank games. I've not played any of them to this point, but I have the series
Oh,
ready to
really?
go whenever I do come around
Mm.
to starting them. Something like this, it's like, again, it's like I feel like I have no drive to actually play this. It feels like there's probably not going to be any sort of story stuff, or if it is, it's like a audio log or a letter that you'll read or
Yeah,
something.
yep,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah, I don't know what your
So,
thoughts are on this.
briefly, I looking into. I mean, I don't give a shit about this game, but it's OBB. I don't know what it is either. They it seems that makes sense that they're making this game. So I'm on their website, and their last two games they've developed five so far. I think the first one's co-op. Yeah, first one's co-op. The second one's a multiplayer racing game. Third is I think maybe a co-op as well. But the last two, I'll say. So one of them is called Beast, which stands for a Bio Exo Arena Suit Team. God damn, isn't that a bunch of words?
Hmm.
But it's a 3v3 cosmic shooter. And again, very much so, it makes sense that they would be the ones making this game. The
Yeah.
other one is actually it's called Frag. It's called Frag Pro Shooter, and it's available on iOS, Android, and Nick. It's on the Nintendo Switch, and it's free. What are you doing? Why are you
Not
not playing Frag Pro Shooter?
not surprising, honestly. I feel like Switch got a lot of mobile ports, surprisingly.
Oh, dude, 100%, 100%. It's mobile ports and hentai puzzles. It's really the Switch's cornered market. But yeah, so it makes sense. But again, I'm not a huge
Hmm.
mobile gaming guy, and I like Ratchet and Clank. I've played two of them, one of them in its entirety, one of them not in its entirety. Size matters.
Oh,
not
I should also
not
say I
not
played.
in the context.
I just realized where you were going with that. But I did play the PS4 Ratchet and Clank, so I technically have played one of them.
The reboot,
Yeah,
the game that's based off the movie that's based off the game.
exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
I started that one and I never finished it.
yeah, Sony's been trying to beef up their mobile offerings, I feel, for a while. So it is kind of cool to see like an actual big name franchise attached to it. Uh, but yeah, not really a whole lot to go on after that.
You mobile heads, though, you bet your mobile sickos are happy.
Let's stay in mobile and also go to a genre that I don't really play, which is MMOs. And this was our last minute addition to our rundown before starting. According to The Verge, there is a Horizon MMO that's a co-development with Sony and NCSoft. Now, this has been rumored for a while. We just haven't really had many details on it. We knew that NCSoft and Sony were making an MMO set in the Horizon universe, but The Verge apparently got access to some kind of video, and they are sharing some details like how the game is called Horizon Steel Frontiers. It is listed as for PC and mobile. And apparently, according to this video that they have access to, there's just like, mechanics, there's developer talking heads. So it sounds like it's some sort of reveal trailer that was maybe published too early on some kind of server or backend or something like that.
One of these days I gotta catch we have access to like THQ's, a few different studios, but we have access to like their like press page, so, and it's like their dumping ground. Like they can just put files up there for images, trailers, or whatever. And I check occasionally, but man, I gotta catch one of them announcing like Darksiders 5, even though the new one's not out yet. They're just like, fuck it. Here's a bunch of hand drawn images of what the next game will be. But anyway, fucking crazy. So NCSoft, they're Guild Wars, is that right?
Maybe.
I think so.
Let's have a
But yes, the Verge has so they said that according to the website, Steel Frontiers will be available for PC, iOS, and Android. So I guess PC players still have. I wonder how it'll run on Steam Deck, considering it's made for mobile.
You are correct. They did do Guild Wars. They also did City of Heroes. I remember seeing ads for that a long time ago. Blade and Soul. Looks like it's a lot of MMOs and RPGs specifically. So,
sure.
Yeah. This isn't exactly all that surprising.
There's actually a quote. So there's hold on. There's a quote that they got from the video. This is from Sungju Lee, who's the executive producer on the game. And in the video, they say, quote, "The core concept of Horizon Steel Frontiers can be summed up in one phrase. The thrill of taking down colossal machines. Hunting massive machines was one of the greatest appeals of the original Horizon series, and now we're expanding that experience into the world of MMORPGs." The dumb read on this, the hot take, Monster Hunter Wild, but with Horizon monsters. I mean,
sure.
It's the easy to read one, but it sucks that it's mobile. That's the bummer about it, because I would be interested otherwise in it, but
as I kind of led into this, not really an MMO fan, also not really a Horizon fan, but
me neither. I would have just tried it though.
What surprises me is Sony's interest in Horizon. Like, I know that they are successful, right? But if you just look at those games, you have the first Horizon, you have the second game, expansions for both of those, you have Lego Horizon
remastered, you
have this MMO. There's so much like Horizon like activity in that IP, and I feel like anytime, at least in our circles or like watching content creators talk about it, maybe I'm not in the right circles, but a lot of the times it's always just kind of brought up as the game that releases around the other like genre defining games like Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring and stuff, and it's always like, yeah, the game's good, but not much past that. And so I'm just always, I mean, maybe it's just emblematic of modern Sony, where they have like their 5 franchises that they just want to define their entire company, and Horizon is a core pillar of that. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just always kind of surprised whenever a new Horizon thing gets announced, and it's like, I guess there is a very big audience that I'm just not privy to that are supporting them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought when the first Horizon game came out that it would spin out into this massive franchise, and obviously it's great for the team because they've created an IP that's very kind of recognizable at this point, to the point where Sony's going to court to defend the IP, and there's clearly a future for it, because why would they defend it to that degree? But yeah, I guess when you just for Sony, there's just a lot on the horizon. So there you go.
Wouldn't it be wild if Tencent like turns around in the lawsuit and it's just like, this MMO,
we have
this is our MMO technology or something. Oh God.
Yeah, that's the countersuit. That's how it starts. Anyway, there you go. Steel Frontiers, no release date. I don't think it didn't say anything on that page or in that video that they saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no release date is listed in the video, but Lee says that the team is working to make the game available as soon as possible. There are more details you can read about it. This news just broke right before the podcast, but you can go to The Verge for more on that.
Yeah, and then
it's nice of us big whales to throw a few chum at The Verge,
right?
indie underground websites.
The last kind of Sony news that we had was there was a state of play that actually aired this past week, specifically focusing on Japanese developers and developed games.
Yeah.
I didn't think we would really go down a whole big rundown. I just picked out a couple of things that interested me.
Well, I'll say as a basic, I think that the state of play itself was like well designed in terms of, I appreciated the set. There was like a little bit of quirkiness to it. It just feels a lot more personable than the like just random shapes and stuff like interacting like Nintendo and Sony do for their main state of plays and directs.
That was something that I immediately picked up on as being different. It's like, it's a lot more casual. There's like the host is like a bit goofy and more animated versus the very corporate talking heads like,
right,
today you can buy this on the PlayStation Store. Like, it did not feel like that.
You're correct. Yes. And and then there's like one joke you got to get in there. It's just it just feels a lot more corporate. Whereas I felt this was obviously it's still corporate, but they do a better job at hiding it. It feels a little bit more relatable. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the opening statement. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I just kind of picked out a couple random ones here. Octopath Traveler 0, it got a new big trailer and a demo, I believe, that is the first 3 hours, I think, of the game. And older Octopath demos, your save file does carry over into the actual release. So pretty cool to see that. This was a random one that I just kind of pulled. Tokyo Extreme Racer. So Tokyo Extreme Racer is a older PlayStation franchise. There's entries definitely on the PS2. I am forgetting if it's on PS1, but definitely on PS2. There's some games in this series. And this is sort of just like they're bringing it back, kind of. I don't know if it's necessarily a remake, but they're just making a new Tokyo Extreme Racer. The trailer's maybe not the best, in my opinion. Maybe it's still like a little bit early. Like there's a whole lot of screen shake and stuff with the cars, but it definitely feels like a different racing game compared to your Need for Speeds and your Forzas and your Cruise that have been coming out. It feels a bit more vintage, I would say, in its presentation, and just even from like the camera angle that they chose with the car. So I wanted to give a shout out to that, because it's just like, this is probably going to be like a double A sort of racing kind of game, but still cool to see that something like this is being made. Sure.
Yeah.
Marvel Tokon, that's getting another.
Oh, and by the way, that's fucking goddamn, that game that you just talked, Tokyo Extreme Racer, that's coming out February 26th, 2026.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know.
I have a hard time saying February, man. February. The R is silent?
That's pretty much
why would you do that?
February, yeah.
Yeah. I like every time I go to say it, like I think about the R in the middle. I'm like, February. No one says that, you idiot. Sorry, I was monologuing.
Marvel Tokon, that got a new trailer. a second closed beta is coming for that game, and there's
December 5th through 7th.
Spider-Man and Ghost Rider are being added to this closed beta test, so still looks cool. I don't know what else to say about Marvel Tokon. Like, I know we were both really hot on it when it first got revealed. I feel like as the marketing is going on, I'm kind of like cooling off on it. And I'm just kind of like, it still looks visually
more
cool,
of it.
but I don't know if I'm necessarily like excited for it. Maybe that's my Marvel burnout, just kind of speaking. But yeah, it looks cool, but it also kind of seems like the game that we might get trailers for the next like year and a half, and then finally a release date on it. So it's kind of hard to gauge how early that game actually is.
Yeah. And then okay, and then the last one you had written down was the Elden Ring Night Rain DLC, The Forsaken Hollows.
Yes.
Coming out later this year. I don't think there's a date on it, but it's
December 4th.
Okay, December 4th. Cool. I mean, there's another reason I won't be able to play it immediately, but there's another reason I can go back because they're adding new Nightfarers and new bosses and stuff like that. So
yeah, new location. One of the big things was Artorias. It's another returning Dark Souls boss that gets a little bit of screen time in there. So was it the Forsaken Hollows? I keep getting the name wrong.
The Forsaken Hollows, yep.
Hollow is an interesting use there. That's a very Dark Souls like term. So I'm curious to see if there's more than just Artorias that's getting added in, or if it's if he's just kind of like the big, inclusion this time around. But definitely looks like some new bosses, some new areas, what you would expect from an expansion into Elden Ring Night Rain. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. I don't know if I'm gonna play it because I'm historically very bad at From Software DLC. Like, I just don't get it and play it usually. So
have you tried getting good?
Oh, that's not necessarily the issue, but I played the Old Hunters and I played Shadow of the Erd Tree. I think those are the only two that I've actually like done for a FromSoft game. Right. So,
and you can go back and listen to Nick's review, in-depth review. There's like a 3-4 episodes all about Elden Ring Night Rain, or no, not Elden Ring.
Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Shadow of the Erd Tree. Yeah. I'll say a few things that kind of caught my eye from this as well. Just because some of them, I'll explain. Broken Lore, I hadn't heard of these games, but they announced 2 back-to-back. Broken Lore Unfollow and Broken Lore Ascend. Both I thought looked cool, really creepy, and they followed that up with Fatal Frame 2. So like, it's like a remake of Fatal Frame 2. And so, yeah, there's like back-to-back horror games, which I thought was cool. But Coffee Talk Tokyo, we have a shout out Pirate PR. I mean, we work with them pretty closely, and I've been seeing for a long time the Coffee Talk series kind of grow. So really cool that this is the 3rd game in the series. And I think if you have PlayStation Plus, you can play the other ones as well. And what was the other one that I had? Oh, and then the last one. I know it's not gonna be a good use of money, but man, that Sony monitor looks sick. I mean, it looks just crisp as hell. And look, I am of a niche, Nick. I understand that. I had a Sony TV. I had that PSP shaped 3D TV, and so it just makes sense that I'd get this. And it's coming out sometime next year. If you don't know about it, so it's a new Sony monitor. At this point, they're kind of building out the whole setup through Sony, because you can get obviously the PS5, you can get a monitor. The last State of Play, they announced those speakers that can do a revolutionary tilt back, but this one specifically is it's a 27-inch monitor that features 1440p. Screen with HDRF support up to 240 hertz with VRR support, variable refresh rate. And again, Nick, every Sony product has some sort of revolutionary technology. This one has a hook for your controller. Yes, that's right. built into the monitor stand.
I actually do think that that's really smart, and I would actually use that because, I have my Xbox controller here, this Starfield one, and it just like sits on my desk or like moves around. So it's like it is pretty smart, and I feel like I would use it if I had a monitor to just sit a controller on. It charges it too, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, charge. Yeah, charging hook. 100%. Yeah, no, it's crazy. See, that's the thing. Once you get the hooks, it's like it's crazy. I mean, I have on my desk, it's like a headphone hook.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to put my controller there, it does not work. But like just putting the headphones there, it clears up the space. Like right now, so I have my PS5 controller, like just chilling on my desk, and so just to have it on my desk, easy to reach, but not directly there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thought, Nick. It has been in my mind, so I have to share it here. We're honest, if nothing else. But anyway, yeah, there you go. There's a trailer they put out for it. Oh, and also one kind of, again, just really interesting thing. So the first thing when I saw the news about like, oh, there's a hook built into it, I was like, oh, but all both my monitors that I have are mounted. So I was like, oh, it's not going to be on. The stand is built into the monitor part of the display. It's not as part of the stand. And it can tilt away. Like you can fold it up and it disappears. So if you don't want it, you don't have to look at it. Or you can flip it down and then put your controller there. So yeah, cool.
Nice.
There you go. I think that is all we have for the news. But of course, the biggest news of all is well, maybe GTA 6, maybe the bigger news. But the biggest news of all in our hearts, and according to the checks that Gabe is sending me, will happen in just a little bit. But first, Nick, how about respawnstation.com, man? What's up with that website?
It is the place to go for game reviews from you and me and all sorts of other stuff. You got interviews there. You got a little fancy tab on the side that shows you the podcast. All sorts of cool stuff. Definitely give respawnstation.com a look.
Yeah,
as Devolver would say,
and
check
one
a
of the
look.
and one of the things that we revolutionary technology we've introduced is you can pull it up on your website, you can pull up the website on your phone, and then in a stunning play, you can tilt it backwards while you read it. So it just kind of makes it easier to read. We really thought of everything. So yeah, check out respawnstation.com. It's we have a few ideas for things. Obviously, we're going up for the end of the year, and usually the December times are like when most of the crew is doing something, like where we're all kind of busy away or just taking some time off. And it kind of coincides with the fact that like after the next episode, we'll be taking a little bit break of a season break, if you will. And so when we come back, we'll have some renewed energy, I'm sure. Again, we'll have a lot more to talk about. But in that time, the website's usually a little bit stagnant. But when we come back, we usually kind of do some sort of a revamp, either attempting to do new shows or like on the website, I mean, attempting to do new stuff. You can check out the last year's, or I guess still this year. You can check out the 2025 update over on the website for things we were kind of playing around with. And maybe that'll hint at what we're going to iterate on going into 2026. So go check that out. Again, remember, use that tilt feature, man. It's great. But anyway, with that said, it's now time to talk about Valve's new hardware.
Yes. This kind of came as a surprise today. Apparently there was some
huge surprise, dude.
There were some rumblings in the the Valve kind of sphere of people. There's like something's happening today. And there's been some leaks of a new VR headset specifically that they've been working on for a while. That did get announced today. What I was not expecting, and what I feel like a lot of people weren't expecting, was also a new iteration of the Steam machine. So essentially
wild. Yeah.
Essentially back in 2015 or thereabouts, Steam was kind of working with third parties to create these Steam boxes or Steam machines, exactly, where it was the idea was a gaming PC, but more approachable, like a gaming
and
console.
compact. It is honestly, I think it might have been ahead of its time because the form factor or the size, I'll say, was actually probably comparable to the Xbox Series S. Which again, people when Xbox Series S came out, people were like, "What? This is fucking crazy! The power!" But like the Steam Machine might have been even smaller. But that being said, the Steam Machine, the original ones, came out when I worked at GameStop, and I don't think I sold a single one of those machines. In fact, I specifically remember, so along with the Steam Machine, we're going to get into each of the details a little bit more, but they also announced a new controller. I remember selling one of those controllers, and it was for someone. Someone's like, "Hey, I need a PC controller," and I was like, "Have you tried the Xbox one? It works just as fine on the PC." And it's like, "Yeah, but like the mouse just." I was like, "Okay, dude, there's really one option for you. Then it's the Steam Machine because it has." This is a much better controller. But anyway, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say that original Steam controller that goes in the controller Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame.
Oh yeah,
possibly,
for sure.
because it just very weird curves on it. You got the double track pads instead of sticks. There's like I think one analog stick on it. Very weird controller, for sure. But yes, as you mentioned, there's also a new controller, and this seems a lot better. It seems to take a lot of like design cues from the Steam Deck, and so it has like back buttons. The triggers and buttons seem pretty similar from what I could tell from pictures to the Steam Deck ones. It does still have dual track pads, but they are underneath double sticks, and you have like a traditional D-pad and face buttons. So you have all of the buttons that you expect to have.
They pretty much took the trackpads from the Steam Deck and they just placed them down, under the analog sticks. So it makes sense. Is that what you just said? Did you say that?
I said that they were below, but you said they're the
I don't
ones
want to
from
repeat
the Steam Deck, because on the original Steam controller, they're like weird, like disc-shaped
circle
trackpad things. They're very weird. These literally are just those Steam Deck trackpads added to a controller, essentially. I don't know where we want to start with this, but if you want...
So, okay, I was going to say, we can run through the entire Steam hardware set. And similar to how they did in their announcement video, if you haven't seen it, it's like a less than 10-minute video where they go through and announce everything. So the first thing they talk about was the Steam Deck. Now, this isn't anything new, so I'll quickly say that there are 3 different versions of the Steam Deck that you can easily buy. New on the pre-owned market, there's different ones that you can pick up, but for $399 US, you can get the 256 gig LCD Steam Deck. That's what I have, and that's the one I use. For $550, you can get the 512 gig Steam Deck, but that one's an OLED. And for $650, you can get the 1 terabyte OLED Steam Deck. The OLED ones also have like the screen, along with being an OLED screen, is also 90 hertz as opposed to 60 hertz, and it has better Wi-Fi and kind of general upgrades as well. One thing to keep in mind, which I think is just notable for the fact that they're doing it, is when you buy a Steam Deck, it comes with a case, like pre-built, or not pre-built, but like it comes with inside the case, and you can just don't have to worry about picking up an extra case with it. So that's the starting thing, and that's no real changes there. Everything you've expected is there's no updates actually. I don't think there's any changes at all to the Steam Deck. Then we have the Steam controller. Now, be honest, Nick, is this something you use? Because I know you play PC games.
On its own, probably not. We'll get into it in a little bit, but on its own, I think if I'm looking for a PC controller, I still think that the Xbox controllers are actually the best option. I feel like, I know the DualSense controllers have been getting a lot more support recently for games, but I still feel like they're not as widespread functionality wise as just the Xbox controller. I feel like for like decades at this point, you get any Xbox controller, you plug it in, most Steam games recognize that as a controller. And so I still feel like that is still the best kind of form factor. I've not really had much hands-on with Steam Decks, and so I don't really know how, functionality wise, how much I would get out of this specific type of controller. I think it is cool that it takes the design language from the Steam Deck and it's like all the buttons and everything like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I don't think that the controller looks that bad. If I'm just gonna like aesthetically look at the controller.
It is a very long controller because essentially you have the regular controller kind of scrunched up at top, and then they have a whole trackpad section down below.
It reminds me of the bigger controllers, like the original Xbox Duke controller and like the Dreamcast controller.
Yeah,
it's definitely a chunky controller. But if form factor, if it doesn't feel too bad, then that usually doesn't bother me specifically. At the same time, though, I do think that like if it's between a Steam controller or an Xbox controller, I'm probably just gonna go with my Xbox controller 9 times out of 10. But again, put a pin in that because I do have an asterisk for that later.
Now, to go through some details about this, the key points about this Steam controller, as it's called. So it has next generation magnetic thumbsticks. This is the controller comes with magnetic thumbsticks using TMR technology designed to for improved feel responsiveness and long-term reliability.
That I am excited for. It seems like it's an evolution of something called like Hall Effect sticks that use magnets.
Yep.
And apparently, from what my limited understanding informs me of, is that those type of sticks are less prone to getting stick drift over time. And so any sort of improvement on that front, I feel that is the biggest like brick wall that modern controllers have is stick drift. And I feel like it's definitely something that these companies, now that they're getting lawsuits over it, they're starting to change the tune a little bit. But I'm like almost convinced that it was definitely left in these newest generation of controllers just to be able to sell new ones. Like I am very jaded on specifically my PS5 controllers. I'm on like my fourth controller. It was like every single year, like clockwork, I got stick drift at the same time. And so
I was just gonna say, thankfully, I have not. Like this is still my. Oh, actually, no. Thankfully, in my time with my PS5 controller, I've not had it. Same thing with my Xbox, but the Switch. Goddamn Switch happens so often for me.
I never had Switch stick drift. I think that is partially due to the fact that I don't play it as much as my my PlayStation and everything like that. But yeah, when I first got my PlayStation, I got a bundle through GameStop, so they threw in a bunch of extra stuff that you had to buy also. So I had the controller that came with the system. I had an extra controller on top of that. Both of those got stick drift within a week of each other. And then I bought a new one that lasted a year, and then it got stick drift, and then I had to get the one that I'm on now. So
you hate to see it.
I'm definitely convinced that they knew that it was an issue, and it's like, we're just not gonna fix that because we'll make $150 million more selling controllers to people. So any improvement to put a bow on that, any improvement to anything revolving around stick drift, I am all for. So big ups on that.
They also have HD Rumble, and then this is a weird one. So essentially, the controller has grip enabled gyro, and how I understand it is pretty much this, right? So let's say you have your controller, and I don't have them, but like pretend there's like back paddles here, like the new controller has, but essentially, you have your Steam controller, and you're playing a game where you have to steer like this. So if you go right here and you're like, oh shit, I've hit, I can't, I'm not going to do this or whatever. All you do, you hit this, and then you let go of this side, like the controllers or the buttons on this side, go back to level, click in again, and then you can continue off from where you left off. So the gyro will hold. So it's a little bit more dynamic that way, which I thought was really interesting. Like, I don't know how useful that is, but it feels like they were like, yeah, this will solve problems for the the niche group of people that will be impacted by it.
It's almost like a toggle that like it senses by touch, so you can like kind of turn it on and off depending on how you hold it. I could definitely see some like use case scenarios. I feel like it is more kind of like how you described it. It's like a functional solution to like an awkwardness than something that like I feel game developers are going to like incorporate as a mechanic, though I suppose they could technically, seeing as I believe it's registered as a new input is how it's coded or something like that. So yeah, weird but cool.
Go ahead. I just looked over and I realized like I look like fucking Palpatine with my hood down. I didn't realize I got to commit to it now. Anyway,
Darth Kermit.
There's I can't do a convincing enough Kermit impression. But I don't even know what Kermit sounds like on the spot, to be honest. Nick, hit me with it.
Hello, I'm going to run to the store on Sesame Street. That's more like an alien.
Yeah, I can't do it. So, all right, so Kermit has to tell you that the Steam controller also comes with a puck. And this one's weird. So I'll read what it says. So it's one puck, two jobs. It's a wireless transmitter that provides a fast, stable connection from your Steam for your Steam controller. It's also a charging station, so connecting to your controller magnetically with a satisfying click. So prefer using USB, Bluetooth, or USB. The Steam controller also supports that too. But essentially, you plug the puck into it, and it amplifies the signal, so it's like stronger than just through regular Bluetooth. And you can, sit back and be wherever you are. So that's the Steam controller. Personally, the juiciest of the news, Nick, was the Steam machine, as Nick had kind of suggested.
Same for
me. This thing essentially looks like a Xbox Series X chopped in half. And we'll go through some of the details here, right? So just like it's very comparable to the Steam Deck in terms of how it functions. It's still it's a PC, but it launches into Steam OS to kind of be like a direct interface. But if you wanted to, it is a PC, so you could install other marketplaces or stores and download Epic and GOG or whatever.
Use a web browser. I believe they have browser support too.
Yep.
So
yes, yeah. So it'll have Steam OS. With fast suspend and resume of cloud saves. It has small form factor. They compare it to it's smaller than a banana, the length of a banana. I refer to earlier Ratchet and Clank, size matters. So set it on your desk, hide it under a banana. It's a powerful gaming PC packed into a roughly 6-inch cube, which is crazy. It's cool and quiet, apparently. It runs whisper quiet, even while running the most demanding games. It has I/O for days. I'm not saying these organically myself. I'm reading the website. I'm not just being like it's got I/O for days. Ready for all the peripherals and monitors you can throw at it. 1 gigabit Ethernet port, display port 1.4, HDMI 2.0, 1 USB-C and 4 USB-A ports. So there you go. This is maybe where some of the tech nerds will get a little excited, all right? And keep it in your pants, guys. The CPU and GPU. So it has 4K gaming at 60 FPS with FSR, thanks to a discrete semi-custom AMD desktop class CPU and GPU. It can run pretty much most games on Steam in 4K is what it seems that it's saying.
With upscalers like FSR or
yes, FSR, yes,
whatever
yes.
The NVIDIA frame generation one is that I can never remember the name for. But with those upscalers, I think that's the idea. I was watching Digital Foundry. They got invited to Valve HQ and they were asking some questions. And it seems like, at least from their approximation, based on the specs here, that it's going to be somewhere between like an Xbox Series S and a PS5, but closer to the PS5 in that spectrum as far as like power and performance. So I think it's, specifically with those kind of frame enhancing tools, it will be able to hit 4K. It sounds like, though, based on speculation on the hardware, like running natively at that, it's probably going to have a hard time for a lot of games.
Right. And yes, and there's a few other interesting things I'll throw too. But next, there is the storage. Oh, actually, I'll say this as well in regards to the games that it can play. The previously Steam Deck verified kind of classification is now being expanded, so the Steam machine will also be kind of included in that thing. So if
cool.
any game that's verified with Steam Deck, you can obviously play also on the Steam machine, and now they're kind of expanding that list. The storage, the system is available in two different storage sizes, 512 gigs or 2 terabyte. So it's either just enough or overkill. But both come with expandable storage via micro SD. And this part I thought was pretty interesting. So say if you're a person who has a Steam Deck, like for example, like me, you can. I didn't mean that like in a braggy way, if that's what I came across. Or did I? Did I mean it fucking maliciously? No. So if you have a Steam Deck, you can eject the micro SD card. Dude, it's fucking ridiculous how you can't see my eyes.
I was gonna say something. You look kind of like an Assassin's Creed character with it pulled down like that.
Dude, fuck. Yeah, I'm back. So if you have the Steam Deck, you can eject the micro SD card and then put it into the Steam machine, and it'll boot up the games that are installed on it like natively, it's just kind of like a instant sync, which I thought was pretty cool, and a good way to kind of like, obviously it has cloud save and stuff like that, but you can quite literally take the game and put it in. And I also saw some people, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I thought it was really interesting. I've seen a video where essentially someone is like, oh, I love PC games, but the PC games aren't as satisfying to pick up because they're just digital, And so what this person essentially did is they went through and they bought micro SD cards for every single game that they wanted to archive. And so like Cyberpunk or Red Dead 2, and they installed it onto the micro SD card, and they ran through these whole bunch of fucking programs to essentially make it so that when they put it into their PC, it boots up the game automatically, which I thought was pretty cool. The little tiny game cartridge almost. Anyway, connectivity. So the 2x2 Wi-Fi 6E plus Bluetooth 5.3 with a dedicated antenna. Steam controller's wireless adapter is built right into the Steam machine for direct pairing, and no giant power brick. Steam machine's power supply is built right in. A few other kind of anything about that you want to touch on, Nick?
Are you just running through the features and then we'll have like thoughts at the end? Or should I?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then no. Nothing that I have to really add.
Okay. And then, so the last big thing, so kind of going through the specs real fast. So it has a semi-custom AMD Zen. Again, this will mean a whole bunch to the nerds. AMD Zen 4 6C 12T. What the fuck does that mean? Up to 4.8 gigahertz. What?
It was 6 cores, 12 threads. I learned that today, is what that stands for.
Oh my god, I was this close to calling you a nerd. Oh my god. Semi-custom AMD RDNA 3 28 CUs. What's CUs stand for?
Compute units, I think.
That sounds too accurate. RAM, 16 GB DDR5 RAM and 8 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. And we already said the internal power supply. So it has 512 SSD or 2 terabyte SSD. And I think we ran through most of the other specs. Oh, and in case it kind of matters for you, just kind of in your preparation, we want to make this comprehensive as possible. So the display I/O for it, the display port can support up to 4K 240 hertz or 8K at 60 hertz. Because fucking why not, I guess. And it supports HDR, FreeSync, and daisy chaining. And the HDMI 2 is up to 4K 120 hertz with HDR, FreeSync, and CEC. What's CEC stand for, Nick?
I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. He's not a nerd. All right. The last two things that kind of are worth mentioning, I think, about it before we kind of just tear it away. So I really fucking dig this. But so again, it looks like a cube, but you can change the faceplate, and the faceplates can be swapped out to be custom. It's so small. It's one of the things that I feel like the Xbox is really lacking in, because again, you think about every we go back like 2-3 episodes. We were talking about the death of the fucking Xbox, but yeah, it's essentially like a funeral service. We were at that at one point, but in that Xbox, it really doesn't help its case in a lot of ways. But the Switch, pretty simple, but you swap out the controllers and it's like, oh, it feels like a new console almost. You can buy third-party controllers on it, and genuinely, I was like, this feels like a different hardware. I've had that experience on my Switch. For the PS5, you have the faceplates. You can swap them out, and it gives you a totally different look for relatively cheap, depending on how off market you want to go, which I think is good. The option to go off market. Xbox Series X, you got to pay like $500 more to get the special edition of that console.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's both extremes. You either get the whole other special edition console, or they have these like console wraps that are
the
just
Starfield, the magnetic little
like
wraps,
plastic things that go around it. Like I always imagine it's like a sock or something that goes around.
Yeah, but there's only like 2 of those, aren't there? Like there's like barely,
so. Yeah,
very limited collection. And so in the customization front, it feels like, honestly, it's really awesome that Valve has come in and is like, hey, Xbox, watch this.
We should say Xbox did well with the controllers because they have Xbox Design Lab.
Yes.
And so you could
which is
fully
great.
customize the controllers. But yes, the same kind of comparison to the console part, it was where it was lacking.
Yeah. So you can change the faceplates for the Steam machine. And I don't know exactly how the kind of sale of that will be, if they'll kind of have a variety for themselves, or you can buy custom from third parties, or I'm sure there'll be a combination of both.
Yeah, I did see that apparently. I don't have the exact quote, but I think it was in one of the videos. I watched a couple videos from different creators on it today, and apparently Valve is talking about putting up like the CAD files for the plates so people can make their own too. So
that's so sick too. Because then, then it's the community can really kind of run with it, and you can just download one that's like, oh, this would be cool, and you can do. Yeah, there's gonna be some cool ass Steam machines, and I think that's it's a nice middle ground for me. And then this is a small one, right? So there's an LED strip on the kind of bottom of the display, and that lets you keep tab on system status, like download progress. So you can literally see the LED strip grow.
So sick.
If the game you're downloading. Yeah, it's so simple, but it's really sick. And even when your screen is off, you can it'll keep updating, and you can customize it with different colors and animations. Or you can just turn it off if you're like, I don't really care about it. So essentially, yes, the Steam machine is optimized for gaming, but it's still your PC, so you can install your own apps and you can try other operating systems. And yeah, it's and if you have a Steam machine, a Steam controller, it acts pretty much like a home console, so you can just press the power button on the controller and the machine will boot up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Nick, let it rip. What do you got? Any other thoughts?
Steam Machine, this is definitely the thing that I'm the most intrigued and interested by of today's news.
I agree.
I do think that the overall design is pretty sleek. I do like the form factor. It's probably, some people would probably look at it and say it looks a bit simple. It is just kind of like a flat cube. But I think it actually looks really nice. I do.
It does, yeah.
Really appreciate the community kind of soft giving it the name the Gabe Cube. I am a fan of that.
Yeah.
Love the swappable faceplates. I think that's a really cool bit of customizability, and I believe they attach via magnets, so that's probably just going to be
snap on.
Really, like the PS5 plates, like they have like a click right when you put them on, but I always feel like I'm gonna break the console.
Breaking them,
like
100%. Whenever the first time you do it, even like it takes a few times where you're like, is this enough pressure? Is this too much pressure? Am I
Mhm.
like, yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah.
But it's also like for the Steam machine, it's small enough and with those magnets that I feel like it's easily accessible. And I think part of the decision making behind making it removable is for just general cleaning, they said. So I think that that's a pretty wise, kind of design philosophy for it. But it also just kind of allows you to mix and match and make it blend your specific space a lot better, which I think is really cool. Um, we mentioned it, the light up bar having like progress. I think that's just cool. Like it's something so
Yeah.
stupid, but it's like I could easily
And
see Sony like patching the PS5 to do that at some point and just be like, yeah, you can see your download progress on the LEDs and everything.
I have two big takeaways from this. I also agree with you, Nick. This is my favorite announcement from this whole thing today. The reason for that is two things. One is that I feel like this is a great iteration of the Steam machine, because the first one, I will say, was not good. It felt very rigid, and they didn't quite know what they were doing. It was a lot of the Alienware branding, but it had Steam OS on it. It had this we already talked about the controller. It just didn't feel quite as cooked, and I think that they've taken a lot of the lessons from that. And then the Steam Deck is a great kind of iteration on it, and this essentially does what the Steam Deck does for me, but to a higher degree. Because one of the reasons why I love my Steam Deck is I have PC games. I have games that and dude, I mean, another inside baseball type of thing. We get so many Steam get codes, like that we have to just say, hey, sorry, we don't cover as many. Like it has to be like really interesting or really like up our alley, or we say no to like 80% of the games we get because they're Steam.
Hmm.
And uh, the Steam Deck allowed me to just be like, oh, I can play some of those. And I'm not a huge PC gamer. I found the setup of PC games just annoying because
Right.
something goes wrong and you got to go into the files and whatever. I just want to, pick the game I want to play and then boot up right into it. And that's the second thing. This is giving me exactly that, just a higher degree, very, very much so like a home console, which has kind of always been my preferred way of experiencing it. But now I can
Hmm.
go through my Steam library games. And when you combine it with the fact that Steam games go on ridiculous sale multiple times a year compared to their console counterparts, and also probably look, even if you don't really play on Steam, there's a chance that you've still got a shit ton of games on your Steam library that you're just like, oh, I bought them because they're like under like $5 or $2 or whatever,
Hmm.
and what am I going to do with them? Well, now you got this thing, and it's definitely, I hate to say it, but it's definitely like, on my list of like, oh, I want this. And with that said, Nick, let's have a little friendly wager. What do you think the price is going to be, man? I have a guess,
Yeah.
but
I
let's see what you.
This is something that I've been kind of wrestling with because I
Actually, I'll give you. I'll ask for two things.
sure.
What do you think is the price, and what do you think is the price you'd pay for it? You can answer in either order.
Before I do that, just to kind of
Sure.
bounce off of what you said, the Steam machine, I too am interested in this for the proper price point. I do think I have a use case for this, and it's sort of the inverse of what it's kind of a combination of things. So you know how I mentioned that I got the PlayStation Portal and I sort of walked myself into a use case for getting that, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually works. I feel like the inverse is also true about how occasionally, like when I'm sitting at the PC or whatever, there's a lot of games that I have on Steam that I play with a controller, like the Xbox controller. And it's like, well, I don't always want to be sitting at the desk to experience those things. And so I feel like this Steam machine is a really great way to have like the living room gaming PC, but it's not the living room gaming PC because of that smaller form factor and stuff. Like you can really slot it anywhere and it's going to kind of fit the vibe and not stand out too much like I think those Alienware original ones kind of did. Like it kind of seemed like, it's the computer that you just have wired up to your TV, right? Um, so that's the thing. And uh, I was going to mention, like last week, we talked about very much the experience of playing certain games. And I feel like, when I want to play a game that's mouse and keyboard heavy, that's when I'll sit at the PC. When I want to play something that's a bit more casual with a controller, that I could see myself using a Steam machine on and, sitting on the couch or whatever. So all that said, to get back to your original question, what do I think it's going to be priced at? What am I willing to pay for it? For my interest level and use case, I feel what I would be willing to pay for it is going to come in under what it actually is going to be.
Oh, sure. I'm on the same place.
If they announce that the 512 gig model is $400, I'm pretty interested. I would be willing to spend up to that to be able to have the convenience of playing my PC stuff on the TV, even if it is a tiny bit compromised on certain games. I, however, think it's going to be probably at least 500. I would go out on a limb and say it's probably going to be like $600 is where I would think that they're probably targeting with this type of system. And I don't really know how to feel about that. I feel like it probably makes sense. I don't think that it's going to be that detrimental to the sales, because they are kind of marketing to a niche group, right? Like, it's not exactly... Like, maybe they are trying to market to the console people.
Well, even the Steam Deck, right? The Steam Deck is not trying to outsell the Switch,
right.
But it's still a successful enough console where they're able to iterate on it. I mean, obviously, the Steam Deck has went from the original to the OLED, and then they even switched out where, like, you can't even get the lower version of the Steam Deck anymore, I believe. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I think I would be willing to spend $400 comfortably on a Steam machine. I think it'll be $600 when they announce it. That's where I would put my chips on it. And even if it's like $500, like, those, I must really need to see like some really good kind of word of mouth and use case scenarios outside of just like, it's a nice looking gaming PC that I can hook up casually.
Yes. Now, look, before we say it, I'm going to say this at the top. Take our word with a grain of salt. All right. There's 100% going to be, there's always a chance that we'll say our shit on our soapbox, and then the thing comes out, and all of a sudden we'll get swept up in it, and all of a sudden Nick or I will be like, yeah, so I picked up a Steam machine. It's very possible. One of us could go to the town fair and win the Steam machine, as a prize. I mean, anything's possible. So keep that in mind. But for me, I think I was looking at the 2 terabyte one. I think the 2 terabyte one would be $750. I think it'll start at $750. But I do agree. I would say I would be willing to pay $500 for it. The 500 gig one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if it's $500 for that one, I'll be like, okay, I can go for it. Especially because even though it's 500 SSD, you can add on storage, and there's kind of all that stuff that again, because it's a PC, you can add stuff at your own rate.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that there's like, I think they said like the graphics card or something is like not replaceable, or like you can't swap it out. But they're also like super confident. They're like, yeah, you won't need to swap it out because we've optimized the shit out of it. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a version of the Steam machine that's 500. I'll like a console price. I think I would probably go for it. But man, we'll see. We'll see how it fucking works. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because I haven't been in a PC ecosystem in a while too. I'm usually on Mac, so it'd be very very. It would be a lot for me to take in too.
The other thing that like kind of I have to wait and see on is I am moving next year.
Oh,
and
yes.
When I do move, currently my PC setup is a floor disconnected from my gaming setup. But when I do move, realistically, those are going to be combined in the same space in the new place. And so something like that is maybe a little bit less important for me to have something when they're going to be so close together anyway. Like I might be just incentivized just to keep the PC and not get a Steam machine. But there's also other use cases I could see. Like whenever I've gone over to like some friend's house, occasionally I'll bring the PS5, and that thing is a pain in the ass to load up. It's bulky and weird.
This has so much of GameCube energy. Oh, dude, and you know what? Since you said they're going to put the design files up, there's got to be one that's like the handle, you know? Like someone's going to design like a foldable handle that you can just grab it with. I mean, yeah, 100%. Much more portable.
Yeah, there's well, we still have the other hardware to talk about, which is the Steam Frame.
This one is less exciting for me because I already have a MetaQuest. I have the MetaQuest 3S, so it's the more affordable version of the MetaQuest 3 or that lineup. But that being said, I don't. There are still some things that I think are really cool here. So let's get into it. But I just wanted to say at the start, this is my least exciting thing. You know what I mean? Like this is the thing I'm probably not gonna pick up, even with peer pressure. Because Nick just texted me. He's like, "You bitch." That's why I bought it. That's why I bought a Switch too, guys. A lot of people don't know that. I wasn't gonna get it, and Nick was like, "You pussy." And I was like, "Okay, fine."
Let the record show that is not the case, but Gabe's checks, whenever they clear, sometimes you can kick them back to Valve and get some new hardware.
Yeah. So the one thing that's interesting about this, right, is that they say that it's it's obviously, if you don't know, the Steam Frame is a VR headset, but they also say it's a VR and non-VR gaming headset. What does that mean? So Steam Frame is a streaming first wireless VR headset plus controllers that can handle your whole Steam library. So step into immersive VR or lean back and enjoy your non-VR catalog. And it supports standalone play too. What does this mean? All right, well, first of all, I'm just going to go through kind of the basics here. So the Steam Frame headset is lightweight and compact with a weight-balanced front to rear for a comfortable experience. It's also easy to just slip on and play with no wires and no setup. Now, the interesting stuff comes in here. So it's a high-quality streaming-first experience. Streaming can be highly variable. Can be highly variable. So they prioritized making Steam Frame as stable, high-quality streaming experience. How did they do this? Well, the first is wireless adapter and dual radios. What this means is they essentially there's an included plug-and-play 6 hertz wireless adapter that provides a dedicated link for both the VR and non-VR streaming. So Steam Frame's dual radios make the connection even more stable. And so one radio is dedicated to streaming the audio and visuals, and the other connects to your Wi-Fi. And both dedicated links, no competition for bandwidth. So like they won't kind of bounce off of like your other things that you have streaming or whatever. And it kind of looks like a Fire Stick if you want to imagine what it is or the size or form factor. It pretty much looks like a Fire Stick you stick in, and it kind of gives you that. This one's crazy. So this is introducing fovet. I don't even know how to spell foveted streaming.
Foveated, I think.
Foveated. Yeah, there you go. It's FOVEATED streaming. It's a new feature that optimizes detail where your eyes are looking and typically offers over a 10 times improvement in image quality and effective bandwidth. Behind the scenes, Steam or Valve is using low latency eye tracking data to steer the best quality pixels only to where you're looking. So I saw the demo of this that I think Dave 2D kind of showcased, but and I'm sure a lot of other people did as well, because it's, again, the kind of embargo lifted today with it. But dude, this is kind of cool. So essentially you put the headset on and it tracks your eyes so that only and with VR, you're not looking at the whole thing often. It's all like you're looking at two kind of concentrated points, and the rest is peripheral vision. So they're kind of prioritizing where you're looking so that the crispest parts of the game are that is in focus. And as you're moving your eye, with like crazy like low latency. The game or the system is literally adapting it so that, oh, like that's the high quality pixel, that's the high quality pixel, and the rest is kind of like, can be a little bit less strenuous. And I think the demo that they had was Half-Life Alyx, but instead of kind of being out of focus or lower quality, it was just black. So like it tracked where you were looking based on it was just black, and you could see the image move.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely crazy.
It kind of reminds me of how in games, like when you're facing one direction, they might call out items behind you. It kind of reminds me of that, but like still in front of your face. It's just like, we're just gonna focus on exactly where your focus is going, which I think is really cool. It seems like a smart technological leap for that sort of kind of thing, to kind of save on resources while also like just giving you what you actually need in a frame by frame moment.
I think there was like a period of time where I think one of the things some games did was, instead of building out the whole level, it was like what you were looking at was only the thing that was rendered. So if you like, there were, again, very few games that I remember doing this in, but if you like turn around fast enough, you could see the game like, oh shit, loading, like, oh, I wasn't expecting you to turn around. So it'd like load a little few, like some textures slower or whatever. It's an evolved version of that, where it's like that kind of like, oh, we're only using system resources for what's actually being kind of looked at. But it, again, updated and iterated on so that it's not as kind of, hopefully not as janky. The first impressions seem all pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
So inside, to give you a little bit more detail, it has an so it's a light custom pancake lenses that provide edge-to-edge sharpness in a large eye box. The optics feature 2160 or 2160 by 2160 LCD panels, one per eye, and has refresh rates that go from 72 hertz to 144 hertz. It also has high fidelity audio via dual stereo speakers on each side. The speakers within each pair are oriented in opposite directions to cancel out vibrations, which can be a tracking system buzzkill, which is kind of crazy. They're literally counteracting the shake of the audio, so as to not interfere with the kind of experience and like add fucking motion blur, or not motion blur, shaky cam or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and camera tracking. So no setup required for high-resolution monochrome cameras. Provide controller and headset tracking. Infrared LEDs on the outside make tracking even great even in dark environments. This isn't like crazy. It's like if you don't know about VR headsets, that's how most of them work nowadays. Like the 3S, the MetaQuest 3S also works the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about that, Nick?
Honestly, the only thing that this kind of spoke to me as being like a positive is, and they even show this in the actual video, is this potentially could be a more affordable way to play Half-Life Alyx than going with like a Valve Index, right? Because it definitely seems like, compared to the Index, that this is going to be similar to the Steam machine, targeting like a cheaper price point. I feel like it's probably going to be living in that MetaQuest kind of range, is what I
$299
guess. Somewhere around there. Fair. So especially with the controllers having like finger tracking and everything like that too, like that was pretty much what it stood out to me. It was just like, oh, more people might be able to actually play Alyx now than needing a giant gaming PC and $1,000 headset.
Speaking of the controllers though, so hop into VR and non-VR games. So the Steam Frame controllers are designed with a split gamepad layout to work with your whole Steam library. VR inputs you'd expect. So the controllers are tracked in space by the headset and come with all the inputs needed for your VR games, including capacitive finger tracking. And these controllers are fully backwards compatible and support the full Steam VR catalog. And
good.
They also support, obviously, non-VR headsets. So they have a D-pad, ABXY, thumbsticks, triggers, and bumpers. Kind of typical controller. They literally just split it. And Nick will be happy, I'm sure, but the magnetic thumbsticks are back, just like the Steam controller that you had. And also, it does use each controller has a single AA battery. I believe just the same as the MetaQuest 3S, but they last like for 40 hours apparently, and like they last a while, so
Hmm.
that's good to know. But and then the last kind of uh, thing to kind of note about it is the Steam Frame supports standalone play. So the Steam Frame is a PC and runs SteamOS powered by a Snapdragon 8 series processor with 16 gigs of RAM. Steam Frame supports standalone play on a growing number of both VR and non-VR games without needing to stream from your PC, which is good. And similarly, there is also a Steam Frame verified for standalone games. So just like Steam Deck and Steam Machine, the Frame will have a verified program that helps you see which games in your library will work standalone, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, I think this one's $300, probably fair to say.
And I think it's cool that they are expanding that, stuff that they started with the index and everything like that, opening it up, making it a bit more affordable. All that sort of stuff I think is cool. I think that it's probably the biggest net positive is that it is a standalone headset this time and it doesn't require the tether to a PC. I think that
Yeah.
that in addition to the price was what I feel kind of, it's going to sound obvious to say, but like kind of priced a lot of people out with the index specifically. And so getting it into a smaller form factor, getting all the, interesting technological advancements specifically in regards to tracking and all that sort of stuff, I think that's all really cool. And the biggest thing is I think it's just nice that the less that we have to have tethers, I think the better for these VR headsets.
Wow. So we just confirmed it. Nick hates Death Stranding. He doesn't like tethers. I see how it is. And with that, we've come to the end of the episode.
Wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
I do want to
go ahead.
pause it one last thing because
No, go ahead.
the big thing that has also had a lot of Valve rumors is the big one, Half-Life 3.
You think it's happening? You actually think that Half-Life 3, we'll see it in next month?
I'm going to say that there is a non-zero chance. I'm not going into the Game Awards expecting to see Half-Life 3.
Okay.
But
Sure.
I mean, just look at all of the like tweets from Game Awards, and anytime Jeff's talking about Game Awards, his like weird tagline this year is "Imagine the possibilities," and that feels like that kind of cheeky Jeff Keighley, like I have something, it's going to shatter the internet. Like, just imagine the possibilities, guys. Anything can happen at the Game Awards, and it just so happens that Valve is sharing new hardware a month out from the Game Awards. Again, Valve, they can drop a Half-Life 3 trailer whenever they want, right? But this seems to be lining up, I think, that there could be... I would say
they also announced that the Game Awards are streaming to Amazon Prime, right?
Yes.
They announced that too? Yeah. It'll be interesting. Okay. Well, would that change if they announced that Half-Life 3 will ship with the Steam machine? I mean, obviously it'll be on Steam, so you can just buy it. But
that's what I'm expecting, though, because when the Index was coming out, they announced Half-Life Alyx. That was like their, hey, we have this headset coming out. Probably want to play the new Half-Life
seller
game, right? So even though you can play it on Steam, it seems like based on data mines and stuff that people have been speculating on for this new Half-Life game, it's not going to be a VR exclusive game this time. It's going to be like a real game, right? So like
yep.
I think it's an easy knockout 1-2 punch if it's like, hey, in early 2026 we have this new hardware, we have this Steam machine, and guess what? Half-Life 3 is real and you can play it on here. Like, I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot of dots connecting with a lot of lines here.
Yep. So that's the full rundown. You have gotten the full information dump on all of the Steam hardware. Actually, yeah, all the Steam hardware, not just the new stuff. Steam Deck, Steam Controller, Steam Machine, and Steam Frame. To quickly kind of sum it up, personally, I already have a Steam Deck. I really like it, but I do feel like it's one of those things. I feel I reached the outer limits or the upper limits of what it's capable of running, and so the idea that even though the Steam Deck won't get necessarily an upgrade, the fact that there's a Steam Deck like console that has kind of I think a slick form factor with the Steam machine is enticing for me to kind of get into the into that ecosystem, play more of my PC games that I've honestly been kind of like avoiding. If a game does not run on a Steam Deck, I'm like, okay, well, that sucks, I guess. So yeah, it'd be cool for me. Steam Frame, I'm not as hot on, but it's still cool technology that I hope kind of maybe makes its way to the things that I do have, because I don't possibly foresee myself needing a second VR headset, and so I don't have any plans to pick up the Frame. But that being said, hey, if you need if it lands somewhere in that $300 price range, maybe $399, I guess we'll see how it goes. But if it lands somewhere or in the 300 price range, I think it'd be an easy VR headset to recommend, because I currently do recommend the MetaQuest 3S as a good starter headset for anyone that's like, oh, I want to get into that, see what VR and kind of all that stuff is about, without having to spend what $550 or $500 or whatever.
Right.
So anyway, that's my recap. Nick, what about you?
Yeah. Valve, they don't talk often on stuff like this, but when they do talk, people listen, and they usually have something actually interesting to talk about. So, if nothing else, I mean, them just taking another crack at the Steam machine, I think is just newsworthy and interesting, especially how far after, like, removed it was, and how, like you mentioned before, I feel like most people kind of consider the Steam machine kind of a flop when they brought it out originally.
Yeah.
And now this really does feel like, no, this is what we were trying to do, but now all the tech is here, and it, we can actually, execute on it. So I think it's really cool. All I'm really concerned with, though, is if we see a new Half-Life game, how earth-shattering that is going to be. So that's where it's at. Always is where the games are. So
yeah, but stay tuned. We'll talk about that in the coming episodes. I mean, obviously, next episode will be kind of the season finale for now, but we'll be back yapping away about games for your listening pleasure. We hope you have enjoyed yet another episode of the Respawn Station podcast. This was another long one, but we had a lot to talk about, a lot of news. Let us know how the Steam Deck and all that stuff excites you. Which one are you going to look at picking up? And do you think it'll run GTA 6 when it comes out? Do you think the Steam machine can run GTA 6? Let us know. But with that said, Nick, anything else you want to say to the people?
Thanks for all the support. Hope you look forward to all the stuff that we have coming out in the future. And obviously, like we said before, check out respawnstation.com for reviews, interviews, all sorts of fun jazz. So with that said, have a good night, a good morning, and a damn good time.